Hello dear students, welcome to your favorite channel PVN Science Study. I am Dr. Pratap Naikwade.
In previous lecture, we have completed thallus structure and systematic position of Rhizopus. Today's lecture is the second part of the Rhizopus study. Here we are going to study asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, germination of zygospore and life cycle of Rhizopus one by one. First of all, we will study asexual reproduction in Rhizopus. Asexual reproduction in Rhizopus takes place by formation of aplanospores and climadospores. So first of all, we will study aplanospores and later on climadospores. So here you can see the actual photograph of aplanospores, and here this is the sketch of different stages of the development of aplanospores. Aplanospores are also known as sporangiospores. These are non-motile multinucleate and formed in sporangia on the sporangiophores. So this is the sporangiophore, and at the end of the sporangiophore, sporangia are produced, and inside this sporangium, spores are enclosed. Dear students, here you can see that how sporangiophores are developed. The sporangiophores arise in clusters from the mycelium and are erect and negatively geotrophic. The terminal end of sporangiophore collect large amount of food material, nuclei and cytoplasm. Because of this accumulation, the tip of the sporangiophore became almost spherical. Dear students, here you can see the different stages of the development of sporangium. As the sporangium matures, it differentiates into two regions. The outer thick, dense and multinucleate layer internal to the sporangial wall, and the next one, it is the central vacuolar protoplast with fewer nuclei. So this is the outer region and this is the central region. The layers of the vacuoles later appear, and then the vacuoles fuse to form a cleft between the two regions. So as you can see here, the wall is formed in the cleft which ultimately separates the two zones, the outer zone and the inner zone. Here the center dome shaped zone is called as columella, and while the multinucleate outer zone is known as sporiferous zone or the sporoplasm, as you can see here. The cleavage of the sporiferous region results in formation of a number of multinucleate segments. Each segment rounds off to form an aplanospore. So as you can see here, there is formation of the aplanospores. After maturity, the wall of the sporangium breaks. It is ruptured, and as soon as it is ruptured, all the aplanospores which are present inside this sporangium, they are liberated outside. The spores are dispersed by wind. After liberation, spores rest on the substratum, and the spore germinates immediately to produce germ tube. So this is the spore and this is the formation of germ tube. Now the spore absorbs water, the wall ruptures and protoplast emerges in the form of one or more germ tubes. This germ tube grows and ramify and develop into the new mycelium of Rhizopus. So this was all about aplanospore, that is one mode of asexual reproduction. The second one, it is the climadospores. So here you can see the diagram of the climadospores as well as stages in the development of the climadospores. Climadospores are perinating spores and which are formed under unfavorable condition mostly. Climadospores, they are produced particularly during the shortage of the water. So as you can see here, this is the hypha of the Rhizopus, and in unfavorable condition, the protoplasmic content of the hyphae accumulate at certain points like this. The portion between these points remain empty. So this is one climadospore, this is the second climadospore, and this is the portion between two climadospores which remains empty. As you can observe here, each accumulation develops its own thick wall around itself to become climadospores. Climadospores are intercalary and they are thick-walled. Terminal climadospores means they are present at the end of the hyphae. later on these chlamydospores are detached and they are remain dormant till the arrival of the favorable condition. On the arrival of favorable condition, chlamydospores germinate and develop into the new mycelium. First germ tube is produced and later on it is developing into the new thallus of the Rhizopus. So this was all about the asexual reproduction in Rhizopus. Now we will study sexual reproduction in Rhizopus. So these are the sketches which are explaining the different stages in the sexual reproduction of Rhizopus. Sexual reproduction generally occurs towards the end of the growing season. It occurs by the conjugation of two gametangia. If the conjugating gametangia are formed on the same thallus, then the thallus is considered as homothallic. But if they are formed on the different thalli, the thallus is known as heterothallic. So here homothallic as well as the heterothallic concept is explained. So here you can see the Rhizopus fungi. One is considered as positive and another one is considered as negative. If the thallus is heterothallic, the two compatible hyphae are morphologically similar but physiologically different. So one of them is considered as plus strain and the another one it is considered as minus strain. So here also you can see here this is the plus hypha and this is the minus hypha. These two compatible hyphae are zygospores, while the branches on which gametangia are formed are known as progametangia. The two compatible progametangia come in contact with each other and stimulus is produced by their contact, as you can see here. Due to this, the progametangial tips increase in size because of the accumulation of the food material and presence of cytoplasm and nuclei in them, and it appears like this. The transverse wall appears in each progametangium near its tip, resulting in the terminal gametangium and the proximal suspensor. So this is the suspensor and this is gametangium. Here also you can see the suspensor and gametes. These gametes may be similar in size or dissimilar. When the fusing gametangia are equal in size, it is called as isogamous. So these are the gametes which are similar in size and so considered as isogamous. While when fusing gametangia are unequal in size, they are considered as anisogamous. Here iso means similar and aniso means dissimilar. As you can see here, the wall between two fusing gametangia dissolves to produce the zygote. So this is the zygote. The zygote later on increases in size and secrete two walls around it. The outer thick and warty layer is called as exosporium and the inner thin layer it is known as endosporium. This is the actual photograph of zygospore or the zygote, and here you can see the outer warty layer. Here you can also see the suspensors. As soon as there is formation of two layers, the zygote is considered as zygospore. In zygospore, the nuclei of opposite strains form pairs, but the karyogamy is delayed. That means there is only formation of pairing of plus and minus strain nuclei, but they are not united. The fusion of nuclei is known as karyogamy, but here the karyogamy is delayed. The unpaired nuclei degenerate. The next step is germination of zygospore. We have seen that how zygospore was developed. So these are the actual photograph of the zygospores. This is 3D structure and this is the sketch. The zygospore undergoes period of rest for several months. On the return of the favorable condition, it germinates. So here we can see the germination of the zygospore. Now the karyogamy takes place. As you know that karyogamy means fusion of nuclei. Meiosis takes place and plus and minus strains haploid nuclei are produced. After maturity, the protoplast absorbs water, and due to absorption of water, it creates pressure on the wall of the zygospore and the wall of zygospore, that is the exosporium, ruptures, as you can see here. Now the endosporium with the contents emerge to form vertical hypha called as the germ tube, or it is also known as the promycelium. The promycelium grows for some time and ends in the formation of the sporangium, or it is also known as zygosporangium or germ sporangium. So this is the zygosporangium or the germ sporangium. Here also you can see the zygosporangium. The protoplast of the sporangium splits to form number of spores called germ spores, and they are of plus as well as the minus strains. So here you can see the plus strain, and here this is the minus strain. The wall of the zygosporangium ruptures and all the spores are liberated outside. When the germ spores fall on the suitable medium, they germinate to form the new mycelium of plus strain as well as the another mycelium of minus strain. When the spore with plus strain germinates, it produces the Rhizopus mycelium with plus strain. And when the spore with minus strain germinates, later on it produces the germ tube, and later on it is going to produce the Rhizopus with minus strain. Now we will see the last part of the Rhizopus, that is life cycle. So as you can see here, the life cycle of the Rhizopus is mainly divided into two parts. Here this one is the asexual cycle and this is the sexual cycle. So let's start with the thallus of Rhizopus. The thallus of Rhizopus, it is mycelium and it is interwoven masses of branched hyaline hyphae, as you can see here. First we will complete the asexual stages and later on we will study sexual stages. In Rhizopus mycelium, the wall of hyphae is made up of fungal chitin. The mycelium contains cenocytic hyphae which are aseptate as well as multinucleate. The food reserve is in the form of the oil globules, and the appearance of the Rhizopus, it is cottony white and later on it is converted into black. The mycelium of Rhizopus contains three kinds of hypha. These are rhizoidal hypha, stolons and sporangiophores. Then during asexual reproduction, this hyphae gives rise to aerial hyphae. They are called as the sporangiophores. So these are the sporangiophores which end into sporangia. So this is the young sporangium and this is the matured sporangium. The sporangium produces sporangiospores or the aplanospores. Later on, these sporangiospores, they are liberated. These sporangiospores or the aplanospores, they are haploid in nature. Later on, they form the germ tube and after germination, they form the haploid mycelium of the Rhizopus. Then the second type of the spores, it is the chlamydospores. So here we can see that on the branch of the young sporangiophores, young chlamydospores are developed. These chlamydospores later on detach and on arrival of the favorable condition, they form the germ tube and after germination, they also form the haploid Rhizopus mycelium. So this was all about the asexual stages in the life cycle of the Rhizopus. Now we will study the sexual stages in the life cycle of Rhizopus. During sexual reproduction, the heterothallic species of the Rhizopus produce two types of the hyphae. One it is considered as plus strain and another one it is the minus strain. These two compatible hyphae are called as zygophores, while the branches on which gametangia are formed, they are called as the progametangia. The progametangia gives rise to gametangia. The gametangia of plus strain and minus strain unite to form diploid zygote. So here we can see the formation of the zygote. Later on, zygote develops wall and there is formation of zygospore. So this is the young zygospore and this is the matured zygospore with two layers. The outer layer, it is the exosporium, which is warty outer thick layer, and the inner thin layer, it is known as the endosporium. The zygospore later on undergoes resting period and in favorable condition it germinates. So here you can see the germination of the zygospore. Now the karyogamy takes place and it is followed by the meiosis to form a number of haploid nuclei of plus as well as the minus strains. The zygospore germinate to give rise to zygosporangium, or it is also known as the germ sporangium. This zygosporangium or germ sporangium contains spores of plus as well as the minus strains, or they are also known as meiospores. When zygosporangium splits to produce germ spores, some of them are of plus strain while the remaining are of minus strain. Later on, they form the germ tubes, and after germination, they give rise to hyphae of plus strain as well as minus strain. And this is the end of the sexual stages in the Rhizopus life cycle. So dear students, as you can see here, in the entire life cycle of the Rhizopus, the diploid phase is restricted to the zygospore and it remains for a short time. The remaining entire life cycle it is haploid, and hence the life cycle of the Rhizopus is considered as haplontic or the haploid life cycle. So with this we have completed life cycle of the Rhizopus as well as total study of Rhizopus. Thank you.